It seems my mother-in-law got wind that we'd bought a house when she called out of the blue with a shocking proposal. On the other end of the line, I could hear my sister-in-law's amused laughter as my mother-in-law expressed her desire to move in with us. Does she think her laughter is unnoticed? Honestly, living with my mother-in-law and the rest of the family is the last thing I want. I thought my husband felt the same way, but now that they know about our new home, are they assuming that we'll all live together? The thought that my husband might agree with them fills me with dread, but I am determined not to give in to their plans. If they are trying to manipulate me, I'm ready to turn the tables. Reflecting on my past challenges, I vowed to get even. I am Nancy Deborah, 32 years old, and an employee at a major financial corporation. I married Mason 4 years ago. We haven't started a family yet for specific reasons, but it's a mutual decision we take seriously. Mason and I are dedicated to our careers, striving for progress every day. We plan to settle our professional lives first, then focus on building a home and a stable environment for our future children. We've decided to revisit the idea of having kids once our careers are more established, a decision we've made sincerely, sharing our true feelings and thoughts. Now, as we prepare for that future, I recall all my past efforts. Recently, a major project at work that I had meticulously planned was a success, and my promotion was confirmed. My salary, already decent, increased significantly. Mason, though not promoted, also received a significant raise due to his tenure. With both of our incomes rising, it felt like the perfect time to turn our long-held dream of owning a home into reality. So I approached Mason to discuss our next steps. I think it might be time for us to start thinking about getting our place. What do you think, Mason? His response was instantly enthusiastic. Is it time already? I could hear the excitement in his voice. He continued, I've been thinking about it too. But since I haven't been promoted yet, I was a bit hesitant to bring it up. Don't worry about that, I reassured him. It's not like only one of us needs to be earning. I was thinking we could even put the house in my name since I'm earning more now. Really? Well, if you're okay with it, then yes, let's do it in your name. Mason agreed with a smile. All right, let's proceed with that. Let's go check out some model homes on our next day off. Sounds great. Let's not miss this chance, I replied, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for having Mason by my side. We share the same values, and at moments like these, I know I made the right choice. The following week, we made an appointment to view model homes as planned. We explored various designs, expanding our vision for what our own home could be. Over the weekends, we started sketching out simple floor plans together and doing online research. During a recent visit to a construction company, they suggested that instead of leaving everything to them, it would be better if we developed our ideas to ensure our home truly reflected our personalities. Mason and I loved the idea, though we admitted to each other that our knowledge of architecture and design was quite limited. Still, we were eager to learn and started to shape our vision. Even with the research, applying what we learned took time. We balanced this new project with our work, taking breaks when needed. Then, unexpectedly, the doorbell rang. Thinking it was just a delivery, I opened the door only to find my mother-in-law standing there. Huh. Mother, what brings you here so suddenly? I asked, surprised by her unannounced visit. Without a word, she removed her shoes and made herself at home. Mason, hearing her, came out surprised. Mom, what's up? Didn't Nancy tell you? I spoke to her about it a little while ago over the phone, his mother replied, looking a bit puzzled. Mason turned to me. Maybe Nancy forgot to mention it. That's not true, Mom, I interjected quickly. It's not forgetfulness. I've just been incredibly busy with work. Nancy handles both her job and our household responsibilities, keeping her mind constantly buzzing with tasks. You're such a thoughtful person, Mason. Your late father would have been proud of how you support her, my mother-in-law remarked with genuine admiration. Then she asked Mason, "Why did you come over today?" With a content smile, she pulled a travel brochure from her bag, spread it on the table, and pointed to a page marked with a post-it note. "Listen, Mason, I've always dreamed of seeing Niagara Falls. Would you take me there, please?" she asked excitedly, taking us both by surprise. Mason and I were speechless, mouths hanging open as she continued to push. "Come on, Mason, think of it as an act of filial piety," she urged, seeing Mason's flustered expression. "Wait a minute, Mom. It's a bit sudden to spring a trip on us," Mason managed to say. "You could come too, Nancy. I was thinking of asking Anna, but if Mason's coming, we could make it a family trip," she added casually. "Hannah is Mason's sister." "What are you talking about?" Mason responded, slightly confused. "Nancy is here, and I can't just take time off from work. Plus, it feels odd for me to finance a trip for you and my sister." "Not odd at all," his mother countered swiftly. "Spending money on family is a wonderful thing, don't you think?" she said, turning to me for support. Though taken aback, I stood my ground. Using one's own money for the family isn't bad, but imposing it on others is different, I replied. "What do you mean by that? Are you suggesting I'm trying to extort travel expenses from Mason?" she asked, her tone shifting. I tried to clarify without sounding harsh. "I didn't mean it like that, but it did sound like you were expecting us to cover the trip," I explained. "That's terrible, Nancy. I had no such intention," she exclaimed, clearly upset. "You're making me out to be the villain in front of Mason." "I didn't mean to call you a villain," I quickly assured her, trying to diffuse the tension. I responded truthfully to the question posed. "Okay, there's no need for excuses, Nancy. Why are you so heartless? You must not like me, do you?" My mother-in-law accused, her eyes icy as she glared at me. This kind of situation is not new. Whenever she visits, she often finds a reason to ask for money, which she then tends to squander with Anna, Mason's sister. While the idea of supporting family sounds noble, what happens here feels more like extortion. This dynamic shifts when Mason gives them money out of kindness. Still, I've never been fond of his mother's or sister's demanding ways. Mason once told me that after his father passed away, his mother and sister's behavior became quite selfish. His father, who died when Mason was in high school, used to manage the finances carefully. With his absence, there was no one left to oversee their spending, which included freely using the life insurance money. Anna works part-time and earns a modest salary, which makes their financial situation precarious. This is often her excuse for showing up at our door, claiming life is tough, or she needs a break and wants to travel, subtly hinting at needing money from Mason. Before I married Mason, it seemed he was constantly at the mercy of his mother's demands. There was a dependency there, a reliance on the care she provided after his father's death. But since marrying me, Mason has begun to see their true colors. Even though they frequently ask for money, Mason has been making a concerted effort to refuse. Recently, he started to assert himself more with his mother in response to her spiteful comments like, "You don't like me, do you?" Or, "Why should I be nice to such an uncharming daughter-in-law?" Mason stood his ground. "Just because you're my mother doesn't mean you can speak badly of Nancy. Didn't she just answer your question honestly?" "You're taking Nancy's side," his mother exclaimed, shocked. "What are you talking about?" "I think you're in the wrong here, Mom." "That's so unfair," she retorted, her voice full of indignation. "Surely Nancy must have poisoned your mind against me. Poor thing, you were such a kind child before we got married. I'm telling you, that's not the reason. I'm saying this because I truly believe it. Mason responded firmly, taking his mother by surprise. She wasn't used to being contradicted like this. With a frustrated expression and biting her lower lip, she finally said, "Fine," and left abruptly. "Nancy, I'm sorry I always make you feel uncomfortable." Mason apologized once his mother had departed. "No, it's okay. Hey, you stood up for us this time." I reassured him, "Once we build our own home, we'll be further away. Maybe then we can minimize our interactions with your mom and sister." "Yeah, that would be a relief," Mason agreed, sounding genuinely grateful. The location we were considering for our new home was quite far from our current apartment, which would also be more convenient for our commutes. Currently, our apartment is about 4 train stations away from Mason's parents' house, but the new house would be 3 times farther and require several transfers. The route from the station was also complicated, so unless we gave them the address, they likely wouldn't be able to find it. This move seemed like a perfect opportunity to distance ourselves from the frequent and often uncomfortable family interactions. Later, we submitted our floor plan ideas to the construction company, and 3 months later, construction began. About 8 months after that, our $800,000 dream home was completed. We managed to carve out some time from our busy schedules to pack. A few days before the move, I received a call from my mother-in-law. I was in the middle of packing, so I put her on speakerphone. "Hello," I greeted. "Nancy, when are you moving?" "You bought a house, right?" "I want to live with you," she blurted out, her voice unusually high-pitched, catching me off guard. In the background, I could hear Anna, my sister-in-law, chuckling. "That's great. We can make Nancy work for us every day." "Mom, you came up with a good idea," she snickered. Did they think I couldn't hear them? It was clear they were planning to freeload off our move, imagining an easy life at our expense. Honestly, I had no intention of living with them, and I believe Mason felt the same way. However, discussing our new house with them might have led them to assume we would be living together. The idea that my dear Mason could be colluding with them worries me, but I am determined not to let them dictate our lives. It seems like they're trying to manipulate the situation to their advantage. If that's their plan, I'll have to be one step ahead. I informed them of our moving date, and immediately my mother-in-law and Anna responded with their plans. "We'll come to your apartment in the afternoon on that day. Take us with you in the car and arrange the movers for us too," they demanded, then hung up. Of course, I had no intention of fulfilling their demands. Before I could discuss this with Mason, I turned around to find him already standing there. "Mason, were you listening? I was about to take a break and talk to you about this." "Was that Mom on the phone just now?" he asked. "Yes, I was going to talk to you about that as well. Why did you tell your mother about our new home?" I questioned, a bit surprised. "It's not quite like that," Mason explained. "Last time Mom visited, she saw the floor plan of our new house lying around. She's been pestering me about it every day since, so I eventually gave in." Mason confessed, clearly regretful. "Nancy, I'm sorry. You don't think I intend to live with them, do you?" he quickly added. "Of course not, Mason," I reassured him. After hearing that phone call, I think it might be better if we cut ties with them. Mason's expression darkened, more furious than I'd ever seen him. It was clear he was on my side, which relieved me immensely. He explained further that his mother had taken a keen interest in the layout of our new home, pretending to inquire casually while bombarding him with questions about the number of rooms and other details. This conversation only solidified our resolve. We agreed it was time to set boundaries and protect our new life together from unwanted intrusions. This resolved me even more to stand up against my mother-in-law's overbearing behavior. I had reached my limit with her dictating terms and causing chaos in our lives. But now it was time to turn the page. I was ready to firmly settle this issue once and for all. So the day of the move came. Mason and I got the movers to transport our belongings in the morning, and we drove to our new home. By the time we finished unloading and arranging everything, it was already past 2:00 p.m. While taking a break, we checked our phones and found dozens of missed calls from my mother-in-law. She called me too, Mason said, his voice tinged with exhaustion. Then, as if on cue, she called again. I answered, leaving the speakerphone on. "Hello, Nancy. Where are you? I told you I'd be at the apartment this afternoon, didn't I?" "Yes, you did say that," I replied calmly. "So what can I do for you?" "What do you mean? You didn't arrange for the movers. I've been waiting at home, and not a single truck has shown up. I had to go to your apartment myself." "Is that so? Well, that's too bad. You know I didn't arrange for any movers," I said, keeping my tone even. "What? That's not the agreement. Where is your new house?" she demanded, clearly flustered. "Do you think I'd tell you?" I responded firmly. There was a stunned silence from her end. She probably thought that as long as Mason was involved, she could manipulate the situation to her favor. But Mason had changed. He was now my staunch ally, committed to severing the unhealthy ties with his family. With all my pent-up frustration ready to be let go, I continued, "Just to let you know, neither Mason nor I have any intention of living with the two of you. From now on, please keep out of our lives." "What are you saying? Your opinion doesn't matter. It's up to Mason to decide. At least tell me where the new house is right now. How are you going to get here without even knowing the address?" "This house is in my name. I have the right to decide who lives here. If you two just barge in, it's trespassing." My mother-in-law was taken aback by my assertiveness, and the silence that followed spoke volumes. It was clear that the dynamics had shifted, and Mason and I were finally taking control of our lives. "And I'll sue you if you trespass," I declared with finality. Her response was incredulous. "Trespassing? How rude to say that about your husband's family." At that point, Mason intervened with a steely tone that I had rarely heard from him before. "Family? The family member I respected, my father, is gone. What remains now doesn't resemble the family I once knew." "What are you saying, Mason?" my mother-in-law faltered, her voice tinged with disbelief. "After that last phone call, I've had enough. Just sharing blood with you is embarrassing. From now on, my family is Dave and Nancy. I no longer consider you two parts of my family," Mason declared firmly. "Wait, Mason, don't say such things," she pleaded, her voice cracking. "Don't bother us again, got it?" With that, Mason ended the call and didn't wait for her response. He quickly adjusted his phone settings to block her calls. "Hey, Mason, are you really okay with this?" I asked him, concerned yet supportive. "Yeah, I finally realized that Mom was just using me." "I feel completely relieved now," Mason said, a genuine sense of freedom washing over his face. He looked truly relieved, finally free from the manipulative ties that had bound him. That was the turning point for us as a couple, successfully severing the unhealthy connections with my mother-in-law and her daughter. Following this, they were forced to adapt drastically. Mason ceased all support, cutting off their fallback option. Without Mason's assistance, they struggled financially. My sister-in-law's part-time income wasn't sufficient, and my mother-in-law, long a housewife, was compelled to find part-time work. Unaccustomed to the working world, she found it challenging and often faced disapproval at her new job. Meanwhile, Mason and I enjoyed a peaceful life in our new home. There were no more unexpected visits from my mother-in-law, and our lives were truly stress-free. I am endlessly grateful to Mason for believing in me and for his courage in cutting ties with his toxic relatives. Whatever challenges may come our way in the future, I trust that Mason and I will support each other and navigate through life together as a united team.